Hey everybody, my name is Gadi Bashvit. I'm the CEO at Bright Security. Bright provides developer-centric enterprise-level DAST. We are focused on applications and API security. Joining me today is Loris. Loris is our CISO and knows a lot about regulations and things like that. And when he and I were chatting about DORA and the new regulations coming out, he educated me a lot and added a lot of insights that I did not have before. And we thought it could be valuable for many people if we actually recorded a short session talking about DORA, what it is, and why it's important for you to pay attention. We're going to do this in the form of a quick interview, 20, 25 minutes, just go through a few questions and give everybody a good understanding. So with that, how about we just jump in, Loris, before we ask questions about that, let's start with why are you qualified to talk about DORA, just so everybody knows the context and why you actually know what you're talking about.
Sure. Well, first of all, well, you already presented me, so I don't need to go into that. I'm Loris Gutic, I'm CISO at Bright, and well, as Gadi is my boss, he told me I have to do this interview, so here I am. Now, I've had a rather extensive experience working in financial institutions. So we have had a lot of experience dealing with all the new European regulation and requirements, particularly GDPR, EBA guidelines, and now at Bright, we are naturally aware, and we are trying to follow up on all the relevant regulation, including DORA, including NIS2, and other regulation that's relevant for European companies, and in this case for European financial institutions. So I believe that that as far as Bright is concerned, we are very in touch with everything that's going on, and hopefully we are able to contribute to the companies that have to adhere to these regulations.
All right, very cool. Yeah, obviously spending many years in different financial institutions in Europe, you were exposed to all of these regulations, which is important. So let's dive in. Can you give a brief overview of, first of all, what is DORA? And then when does it take into effect? What's the legislation, and what are the requirements and implications for people who don't meet the requirements or companies that don't meet the requirements?
Sure. Well, DORA is a new EU regulation that aims to improve the digital operational resilience of financial institutions. It requires financial institutions to implement a number of measures so they could improve their ability to withstand, to recover from, and adapt to any kind of ICT-related disruptions. DORA, as a regulation, is based on several, we can call it main points. They are ICT risk management, incident reporting, operational resilience testing, monitoring third-party ICT risks, cooperation between financial institutions, cooperation between financial institutions and national authorities, and of course, the one that concerns everybody, the penalties for non-compliance. DORA is planned to take effect on January 1st, 2025. And well, when we touched upon the penalties, we have to emphasize that they have not yet been finalized. They are expected to be significant, and well, the latest news are suggesting that they could go up to around 2% of overall global revenue of the financial institution, which, as you may acknowledge, is quite an amount, or it could be quite an amount. So we have already had experience with company sanctioned for not adhering to GDPR, and I think that we are looking at that ballpark. So.
Wow, scary stuff or great stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about who does DORA apply to. Obviously, it's for European financial institutions or financial institutions in the EU. Can you talk a bit about why CSPs are included, and is there similar legislation elsewhere as well?
Well, first, as you already stated, DORA applies to financial institutions in the EU, and it also encompasses critical third-party service providers, or CSPs. That particularly concerns the CSPs that provide ICT type of services to financial institutions. And the reason for their inclusion is because due to the way the financial sector is developing, a lot of outsourcing is present, and a lot of activities have been displaced from outside financial institutions to CSPs. So they have now become critical part of the financial system in the EU and realistically elsewhere. So their failures can have a very significant impact on financial institutions. DORA is considered to be actually one of the first, or maybe the first piece of legislation that tackles operational resilience in such a direct and comprehensive manner in the world. And there are no such extensive and directed legislation anywhere, but right now, there are certain efforts conducted in the United States and the United Kingdom. For example, in the United States, CISA has released a number of guidance documents on operational resilience, and the Senate Banking Committee held hearings on the topic and made certain recommendations that should ultimately result in some kind of legislation that's if not identical, at least aligned with what DORA is trying to accomplish in EU. In the United Kingdom, their Financial Conduct Authority has published a consultation paper on operational resilience, and their Treasury has announced new legislation on this topic. So we can expect something that will be probably very similar, because UK banking system has it's been rather aligned with EU, particularly since not so long ago UK was a part of EU.
Yeah, let's not get into politics right now. For those of you interested in following up on what is going on in the US and the UK, at the end of this session, we will show a screen that has all our social media information, the blog information, and we will continue updating there as new things come out. So feel free to follow us and you'll get that information. I guess let's move on. Why now? What's driving this legislation now? Why didn't it happen before? Is there anything specific, or is it just no, it was time that cybersecurity take front and center in these financial institutions?
I wouldn't actually say that it's only now. Operational resilience has been a topic of various legal acts and guidelines published by European Banking Authority. And what has happened now is that it has reached the level that covers the entire European Union, all the members of the European Union. And obviously, just like with some other pieces of legislation that have been introduced in the last couple of years, driving force behind DORA is without a doubt the increased threat of cyber attacks. And threats against cybersecurity of financial institutions and companies in general. The European Union has recognized that cybersecurity and cyber resilience must become a part of more articulate focus, and they have to be considered integral elements of business operations.
Makes sense. Maybe talking about this for a second, for those who are not familiar and interested, how is DORA different, or how does it compare to GDPR and NIS2, some of the other regulations that we have?
Well, the main difference is that DORA is more focused. It's focused on operational resilience in financial institutions and their CSPs, and that makes it obviously different from GDPR and NIS2, which are actually which have a wider area of focus, mainly focused on improving the security of the EU's digital infrastructure. So it's but I wouldn't make it sound too different or too distinctive. Yes, DORA is focused on operational resilience, but once you get into the essence of the regulation, then you can actually see that there are a lot of things that are similar, because operational resilience naturally connotes processing of data, safety and security of data, managing risks of network, cybersecurity, information security, and incidents in general. So there's a lot of let's say overlapping. Only DORA has more focused target group of companies.
All right, good. So you talked a bit about what are the components of DORA and what does resilience actually mean. Are there specific steps that organizations should take to be compliant? Is there something that they can do to hit the low-hanging fruit, get the 80-20 and do quickly things that will get them 80% of the way there and then go from there? Or is there a guideline?
Well, yes, of course, there are steps that organizations can take to be compliant with DORA, and there's also a low-hanging fruit. It's a consolation prize. I'll touch upon that. So the main steps that organizations should take in order to be compliant with DORA is to create a robust ICT risk management framework. That framework should be able to fully identify, assess, and mitigate the risks that are posed by ICT threats to the organization. In this case, to the financial institutions. Also, what's very important for DORA is the process for incident reporting and sharing, both reporting internally and reporting to the relevant authorities. The process should be established in every financial institutions that would ensure that ICT incidents are reported to the relevant authorities in a timely manner. Next, I would say that organizations should focus on creating and executing test plans. The plans should be comprehensive enough to test organization's ability to adapt to any ICT-related disruptions. Also, one important aspect that DORA emphasizes in its contents is monitoring of the ICT risks that are posed by third-party service providers. As we have stated before, CSPs have become almost unavoidable and intricately tied parts of financial institutions infrastructure, which is why it's particularly important to manage any risks that arise from that particular domain. As for the low-hanging fruit that you asked about, there are actually relatively simple steps that can be made to bring organizations closer to what DORA requires. We have already mentioned incident reporting. The comprehensive incident reporting process is comparatively, it's fairly easy to establish, and it's very important as a starting point for dealing with any ICT instance that may arise. Also, creating comprehensive. Again, I'm emphasizing that word because it's important that they be comprehensive. Test plans. They are exercises that have to be planned and executed in order to ascertain how institutions would react in case of any shakeup caused by ICT incident or some other incident of some other nature that might reflect on the functioning of the organization. Also, we have already emphasized monitoring third-party ICT risks. That's also a relatively simple thing to do. So the organizations should really take care of who they engage, which parties do they engage, how they cooperate, and make sure that the organizations they engage as their CSPs fulfill and have robust security posture that can walk hand in hand with the financial institution. Other things that I would suggest are training employees in operational resilience, getting employees to understand and acknowledge everything that operational resilience entails is very important. So the organization should really take steps in that direction. Board of directors, management, higher management should be very active in this particular field and make sure that they are driving the efforts to improve operational resilience. And also maintaining the plans and testing is also something that we have already partially covered. That should be in focus of every organization, and is not something that's beyond the scope of almost any organization that's looking to adhere to DORA.
Great. So before we wrap up, I would be remiss if I didn't ask the plug question. Is there logic, or does implementing a DAST solution for applications or for APIs, it sounds like that could be even more relevant, can that help with DORA?
We have already, I believe, during the course of this conversation, mentioned risk management and vulnerability management and internal testings are extremely important part in managing ICT risks. So DAST can definitely play a part in resilience testing. It can help identify weaknesses in the applications developed by or used by financial institutions. Also, DAST can help to improve the organizational awareness of the issues and vulnerabilities in that could be exploited by the attackers to gain access to organizations' applications. Also, when they're developing applications by using DAST, organizations can reduce the risk of being breached, and also when you have a particular kind of DAST, more dev friendly and dev centric DAST, the way Bright has, then it can actually help overcome barriers to implementing DORA requirements by making it easier for developers in the companies and the financial institutions in particular to integrate security testing into the development process. This actually helps reduce the overall cost and effort of compliance on one hand, and on the other hand, it makes sure that applications in development and early in development are scanned for vulnerabilities, and vulnerabilities are promptly remediated before any application hits production.
Excellent.
So basically, if you use DAST in this context, it can help ensure that security is built into applications from the start, rather than being an afterthought. And proactiveness is very important for operational resilience.
Very good. Okay, we are at time. So thanks everybody for listening in. Thank you, Loris, for imparting all this very valuable knowledge. As I mentioned earlier, right after this, we'll display our contact information, both for Loris directly if you have questions and you want to dive in deeper into any of the aspects of DORA, and for me, and then for the rest of our team, because we will continue updating in social media channels, in our blog, on developments with both DORA and other regulations. And obviously, we talk about all aspects of application and API security, so you can follow us and learn more. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks again, Loris, and see you all very soon.
Thank you, Gary. Take care, everyone. I wish you all the best in managing your adherence to DORA.